Hey guys, what's up? It's Shrout again, and this time we're bringing you a Lorwyn Morningtide draft, and we are faced with an incredibly easy decision to start this off. Chandra Nalaar is absurdly powerful. This was the first set that ever had Planeswalkers. To be honest, Planeswalkers are never really balanced correctly for limited. They're pretty much all nuts for limited, but here they're just rare because the set doesn't have mythic rares, and they're pretty much all Windmill Slam first pick. Chandra Nalaar is probably the best of the five, in fact. Can't off the top of my head think of a better card to open in the entire set, so we will happily slam that there. There is a Mole Drifter. I'm a little sad to pass a Mole Drifter. Mole Drifter is super sweet. Mole Drifting is like the greatest feeling in the world, although Chandring is not far off. So let's go ahead and kick it off. All right. So once we go down the red path, there are a couple of options. We can try and draft like the elemental deck, which there are a couple of different ways of doing that. We can the two tribes in Lorwyn that are red are goblins and, well, elementals are all colors, but there's a lot of red ones. Goblins, elementals, and then giants to a small degree. Not a huge fan of either of those archetypes. One archetype I was a huge fan of in this format was warriors. Basically drafting what looks like an elves deck in the first two packs, and then shifting into red green to pick up the synergies in Morningtide. So with that in mind, I think Fertile Ground is probably the pick here. Most powerful card by a pretty fair margin left is Stony Brook Angler, but there's not really not really an archetype that makes sense going from Chandra Nalaar to Stony Brook Angler, so I'm going to take the Fertile Ground. The only other card to consider would be Smoke Raider, but again, I like red-green enough in this set that I'm going to try and make it work, possibly to my detriment in the first couple of picks. And to follow up with that, we've got Leaf Gilder to continue down the red-green path. Let's see. There are two pretty good red cards. So Flamepin Spitfire is a sweet one, and Consuming Bonfire is pretty flexible removal. It's expensive, but it's expensive, and it doesn't deal with changelings. That's about all it doesn't deal with. And Cairn Wanderer is a good man. Basically an air elemental usually, or occasionally something slightly more powerful, but that's going into a third color, so I'm not especially interested in that. I think I'm gonna snap up the removal here. Alright. It's another Smoke Raider. So is this a tribal? Yeah, it is elemental. Okay, so we could ramp into that. Not that there are so many super exciting targets for Consuming Bonfire on turn 3, but Smoke Raider is a sweet one. You kind of have to draft around it, but there are a lot of really powerful things you can do with the Smoke Raider if you're looking for it. The green has kind of dried up. I do like Seed Guide Ash, but it's just a dude, and we have a pretty heavy curve already. So it's basically a choice between Smoke Raider, Glare Wielder, who is also good. I think if we're going to take a red card, we would take the Smoke Raider. Guiltleaf Ambush is also something to consider, but we'll just take the Smoke Raider. All right. Kind of a dry pack for us, at least as far as what we've been trying to accomplish so far. Boggart Sprite Chaser is a really narrow card. It only works in a very specific type of deck, and that deck is incredibly difficult to draft. So I don't really see our final deck actually wanting a Boggart Sprite Chaser, but other than that, we could. There are a couple of strong Merfolk cards. Harpoon Sniper is a pretty powerful card, and one that unfortunately one that we can't really support at all given our first 4 picks. I guess we'll just take this and see if it takes us somewhere. I doubt it will. I don't anticipate actually needing that. Dry couple of packs for us. With the... Let's see. Bogart Harbinger. Oh. I think I really don't see myself going this direction, but I guess a red black deck with shaman synergies, goblin synergies, that's still on the table. So I'll take, and this is, I think is pretty clearly the most powerful card left in the pack as well. Again, not something that I'm eager to play or really would be looking forward to, but okay, so now we have several options. Inner Flame Igniter is a sweet one. It's if you actually kind of assemble the Voltron of elemental cards. Smoke Raider helps with this. There's a card I can't remember the name of. It's a Grizzly Bear that can pump 6 mana into 8 mana and kind of helps you activate this. You can kind of alpha strike people with it. This is a pretty powerful effect. The only other thing I'd be considering here would be Elvish Hand Servant, which is a card I was always a huge fan of. It's a lot better than it looks because it triggers off of your opponent's cards and it triggers off of changelings. But I think we're going to go with the Inner Flame Igniter here. So far, green has really not shown itself to be open at all, which is a little inconvenient. But we're just going to have to adapt with it. So the Fertile Ground might have been. I guess it was kind of a forcing pick. Probably should have just taken the blue card. Here, I think we are probably just going to take the blue card. Actually, this card's pretty handy. We now have 2 Harbingers. Probably could only support 1. This turns on our Bogart Sprite Chaser. If we end up blue-red, that's a very strange combination, but something you can totally manage, and it's the most powerful card in the pack. So we'll just follow the signals for now. And this is not the 2/3 flash. This is the yeah. Not really a lot you can do with this. But there's not really a lot else in the pack. Really, the only other playable card is Kithkin Healer, and I see no reason to go into what is potentially a 5th color here. So we'll cool off on that. This card, wherever you clash, yeah, no interest there. So yeah, really nothing to see here. None of these cards are actually playable, I wouldn't say. So yeah, we'll just snap up the red card. Oh, and wow, okay. This guy's playable. He's just a Grizzly Bear with an upside. But this card is actually pretty sweet. So happy to see it still in the pack. And the Elemental plan is clearly wide open if this guy made it all the way around. And a Seed Guide Ash coming back on the lap. Interesting. Dirk Woodbore's just get no respect these days. Sure. Yeah, that's not going to do anything. Could see myself boarding in a hurly-burly, so I'll decline the 14th pick rare draft. Okay. So the deck could go a number of directions from here. Red-green is still very much on the table. Red-blue is also kind of on the table, I guess. We have the Sprite Chaser, one sweet fairy, and one kind of pointless fairy. So we're really looking to the second set of packs for direction more than anything. And the best card in the pack is Dream Spoiler Witch by a fairly wide margin. This card is nuts, but would be kind of hard to enable for us. We just have the one. We have the Bogart Harbinger. We don't actually have any other goblins other than the Sprite Chaser, so that's not really a direction that we're excited to pursue. I think Changeling Titan is probably the Yeah, I'm going to take the Changeling Titan. This coming back around kind of made me think that maybe green was actually a little more open than it looked. And this card is pretty sweet with being, you can play it on turn 3 off of Smoke Braider. You can ramp to it on a Fertile Ground, and the changeling ability is huge in this set. It just kind of lets you take a lot of different tribal synergies and string them together. You get all sorts of weird benefits off of playing Titans, playing Changelings. The pick here is pretty simple. Lash Out is a really strong removal spell, and it's in the one color that we know for sure we're going to play. So, Eyeblight Ending is slightly more powerful, but it's really unlikely at this point that we're going to actually play black. So, yep, it's a pretty easy Lash Out here. Let me go ahead and clear out some of these less impressive cards. Couple of very good cards in this pack. Not really any for us. There's an Oblivion Ring, which I think is probably the best card in the pack. Again, it's a 5th color. Yeah, we're not gonna play Fall Grinder. And we do have a Fertile Ground. It's not. Smoke Raider makes all different colors. We can't splash Oblivion Ring off of it, but not out of the question that we would actually play multiple colors. But I think what we're actually going to do here is take the Silvergill Dowser. Silvergill Dowser is really, really obnoxious to play against. I think it is worse than Oblivion Ring, but not really by much. So even just by itself, the -1/-0 is a reasonable effect. But we have Fairy Harbinger. We have this triggers fairies and merfolk. So if we go down the blue path, I'm sure we'll wind up with more. And again, we're really not missing much in our main colors, I guess. So. There's a Stony Brook Angler. So the blue-red plan is actually sort of starting to come together. The other options here would be Jagged Scar Archers is actually very, very powerful, but we currently just have the one elf. Yeah. I think we're going to try and go down the blue-red path a little further. So the options here are Drowner of Secrets is huge in a dedicated Merfolk deck. In a deck like this, it doesn't look like it's actually going to be doing a ton of work. So I think we're gonna decline on it for now. Blind Spot Giant doesn't really look like something we're going to be capable of enabling. The choices for us, I think, are between Familiar's Ruse, which we have a Harbinger, we have not much else. It doesn't look like to actually abuse with Familiar's Ruse, or Shimmering Grotto to let us play multiple colors. And I don't think we're actually declining on much by skipping up on these cards. So I think that we'll just take the Shimmering Grotto and leave our options open. Okay. Soulbright Flamekin, that's the guy I was talking about. He is really, really handy, actually, with several other elementals in the set. And where's the other guy? He's good with Spitfire, but we're looking for Inner Flame Igniter. He's really sweet with Inner Flame Igniter, so I think that's going to be the pick for us. We're really not missing out on much of anything else. Another Seed Guide Ash, but we're good on 5-drops. Alright. Wow, this guy's still hanging around. So, evidently just a dedicated blue-white Merfolk deck was actually the place to be. That opening Chandra kind of steered me away from seeing that signal, but that's okay. I still am pretty comfortable with the direction this deck's going. Although, we're out of actually really good options here. Okay, Blind Spot Giant. Blind Spot Giant is really the only, the only good red card in the pack. Nah, I'm going to take the Treefolk Harbinger. It's looking less and less likely that we're actually going to play green, but even if I don't think we would ever actually play the giant. So in this deck anyway. So here the green path not actually closed still. I'm kind of waffling, but that's okay. Nathalie would be actually pretty sweet if we did end up going down the red-green like Warriors path, but a second Flamekin Spitfire is also pretty handy, so we'll try and pursue that. I'd like to go ahead and clear out some of these cards that I don't think I'll play, but haven't really had the opportunity yet. Not really anything to see here. Goat Napper is a pretty pointless dude. It looks just like a weird joke. All the changelings in the set are goats, so it does actually do something, but it doesn't do much. Blades of Velasvel is a really narrow trick. It's rare that Blades of Velasvel actually does something useful for you. I think I'm just going to hate draft the Hillcomber Giant, who would be really obnoxious against us. Alright. Akatwix Will in our 2 Merfolk deck. Doesn't seem great. Fistful of Force is a handy trick. Won't play any of these, I don't think. This card actually... Sure, this card is a mana fixer, so we're actually kind of happy to see that if we ended up in blue-red. Blue-red X, I guess. Blue-red-green, probably. No respect the Dark Ward Boar gets. I mean, this card, it's uninspiring, but it's really it's surprising that it would go that late. So we'll go ahead and cut you. You're definitely not making it. I think black is pretty well off the table at this point as well. And yeah, all the rest of these cards could potentially see play. Lightning Crafter, this is the Shaman champion guy who is pretty powerful. Pretty sure this guy's a shaman. Smoke Raider is definitely a shaman. I think these guys are shamans. This guy is a warrior, so that's all. It doesn't work. Druids, okay. Then wizard probably, yeah. Okay. We have some ways to support the Lightning Crafter. Not a ton, but definitely an option that kind of appeals to me. The other, let's see, Violet Paul is really sweet, but we would be playing it on the splash, which we totally can do. So that's also on the table. And then Sunflare Shaman is probably the only other thing to consider. And we do have a fair amount of elementals, but getting them all in your graveyard is, this guy's fine, but I think I'm going to take the Lightning Crafter here, and hopefully pick up a couple more shamans and make that guy slightly easier to enable. So Countryside Crusher, he gets real big, makes it so that you never draw lands again, which is kind of cool. And there's not really much else for us. If we continue down the blue path, Latchkey Fairy is pretty good, but not nearly as good as Countryside Crusher. I think this is a pretty easy pick. Not a lot to see here, doesn't look like. Roar the Crowd is removal. It's pretty clunky removal. It often doesn't quite do what you need it to do. You need a pretty good board position before it actually does anything. Fencer Click is a strong flyer, but his creature types don't really help us. And it's Huh. Really need to be making a decision right about now as to which, whether I'm going to actually go down the red path or the green path. Orchard Warden, yeah, expensive. Doesn't do a whole lot. I think I'm just going to take the Fencer Click here. Still waffling, sadly, but not a lot else in the pack. Okay. Warspike Changeling. This really ties the room together. Definitely the best card in the pack for us. There's been a pretty good amount of white go by this pack, but yeah, we'll definitely play the Warspike, and it's every creature type, but it's a shaman for our Lightning Crafter among other things. So yeah, pleased to add him to this deck. And Rage Forger, that guy's a sweet one. We have several other shamans already, so that guy kind of ties the room together. So 26. Let's see if we ended up. Okay, so we are a little short on playables if we assume that we're playing blue-red. It looked like we had quite a few more green playables than blue, so if we do have a red-green deck basically to fall back on. And here, Distant Melody, draw some cards, and let's see, I don't know if that's reliable for us. We're sort of all over the place, at least by lore 1 standards as far as our creature types. I guess probably shamans is our most it's our heaviest creature type commitment. So this card would probably be like a draw 2, I think, on average. The other option, really, this guy is just a giant guy. We don't have any other giants. Or Bright Hearth Banneret. Elementals cost less. Yeah, we'll take that. And another Rage Forger. That is excellent to see. It's a Shard Volley, which is kind of sad to have to pass a Shard Volley, but this actually kind of gives our deck a lot of focus at this point. Now we know for sure we are trying to enable shamans at any cost. And look, a shaman. I really like Warspike Changing a lot. He's, considering that he gets a bonus from pretty much everything that would pump any kind of creature type. Like, for example, if we curve Rage Forger into Warspike Changing, we have a 4/4 first striker, which is a huge board presence. Not really anything to see here. I doubt we'll play that. I would hate Coordinated Barrage, but again, we're slightly short on playables if we ended up going blue-red. So, still nothing to see. No shamans, in fact, to see. It's removal, so we'll hate it. Sure. Sadly, it doesn't look like we're gonna get anything else on the lap. I think we're pretty much done here as far as collecting playables. Second Kindled Fury. This card's a reasonable trick, I guess. So we'll consider that. All right, deck building is gonna be fun. I hit all the green cards, but I don't actually know for sure that they're, well, looking at it more, yeah, they're actually almost certainly off the table. Although we might end up splashing. We have Harbinger, which can go get Changeling Titan and Champion Changeling Titan. So yeah, sure. I don't know. Deck building is gonna be interesting for sure. I will see you guys then. How's it going, guys? The Moto client froze before the deck building window popped up, so lost about half my deck building time to that. So I'm on kind of a short clock here, but it should be okay. These are all the red cards that I'm definitely going to play. These are the blue cards that I'm definitely playing. I think this is almost certainly going to make the cut because this. Let's see. That's only these plus these are only 20 cards. We would then need to dabble in a second color probably, or a third color rather, and this would enable that. I'm thinking. Okay, so this. We have Fairy Harbinger, which goes and gets this, and then we could cast this off of our Smoke Raider, off of our Tide Shaper Mystic, off of our Shimmering Grotto. I think that's reasonable. This is not a Shaman, which is unfortunate. We could probably, sadly, can't cast this off of Smoke Raider. This I kind of want to play this as well. It actually goes and gets our. It's a Shaman for our Rage Forgers, and it goes and gets Lightning Crafter. So that's kind of calling my name as well. I think can enable them both just off of Shimmering Grotto. I think we could probably play one Swamp. So that's 3 sources for green and 3 sources for black. 1, 2 for both, and then Smoke Raider for this, and then the Swamp. So yeah, I think that's how we're gonna do it. The only other option would be to play some Kindled Furies, which Kindled Fury's fine, but I'm gonna take the risks here. I think this is probably the best way to approach it. Let's see what Magic Online has to say about this. Sure, 1-1 expected that, and we are not gonna play the Forest, I don't think. But 11. Okay, that's only 16 land, and then this. So 6 blue sources for 5 blue cards, including a double. How many red sources was that? 10, 11? We don't really have any double red cards other than this. I think we can get away with. Yeah. Sure. Looks like a deck. See you in round 1.